Brady.
David John Chancellor.
Danger zone, flooding, evacuations, the threat of mudslides, and this daring rescue. The West Coast hit by a major rainstorm, dumping nearly a foot of water in one day. There could be more. Happy New Year. From Australia to Europe, it's already 2006 as Americans get ready for their own celebration. Stranded. How these passengers were trapped on a train for 2 days. Why did it take so long for Amtrak to fix the problem? And Back to the Future, trying to restore the magic of going to the movies.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with John Siegenthaler.
Good evening, everyone. While millions of Americans are getting ready to celebrate the New Year tonight, there is no celebration for many people on the West Coast. A major storm hit the coast again today, bringing with it heavy rain. It has caused widespread flooding, evacuations, and mudslides. Tonight, rescue workers are scrambling to save lives, and there is the possibility of more rain this weekend. NBC's Jennifer London is in Guerneville, California tonight. Good evening, Jennifer.
Good evening, John. A light rain has returned after taking in California. The intense rainstorms overshadowed the coming celebration of the New Year.
We found that it's very flooded in this area.
East of Guerneville, California. Today, the river rose 6 feet above flood stage, and it's still rising. And now residents here are keeping a watchful eye on what tomorrow may bring. John, more heavy rains are expected.
Jennifer London in Northern California. Jennifer, thank you. Now, for more on what's ahead for the West Coast on New Year's Day, joining us is meteorologist Elise Finch of NBC's digital weather channel, Weather Plus. Elise, what do you expect tomorrow?
Well, John, we expect more of the rain. This onshore flow out west is going to continue. And whereas in days past we saw the heaviest rain in Washington and Oregon, the flow around low pressure just off the coast is going to time in the middle of next week. John?
Elise Finch. Elise, thank you. Security is once again a top concern around the world tonight as major cities ring in the new year. New York City is no exception, where 10,000 police officers are on duty for the traditional ball drop at Times Square. They will be focusing on the 1 million revelers expected to pack the square tonight, where thousands have already been waiting for hours just to get a spot to watch the festivities. Now, as Americans get ready for the stroke of midnight, in other parts of the world it is already 2006.
3, 2, 1.
Sydney, Australia was the first major city to kick off the New Year celebrations. A light show featuring a huge beating heart and heart-shaped fireworks dazzling an estimated 1 million people who lined the harbor. In Hong Kong, the countdown set off a light and sound display in 20 buildings along the waterfront. Tokyo's celebration featured thousands of balloons released at the stroke of midnight, floating their way skyward around the illuminated Tokyo Tower. While in Taiwan, it was fireworks around the towering skyscraper that is called Taipei 101, which is currently the tallest building in the world. In Beijing, the new year was ushered in with the ringing of a bell to dispel bad luck. And there was the dancing of dragons to attract good luck and happiness. Midnight in Moscow found the Kremlin aglow as crowds completely packed Red Square.
I think that our life will become better in Russia.
In Iraq, the Baghdad skyline was dark due to a curfew, but there was some celebratory gunfire. And in Berlin, the huge party stretches for blocks, with lights and music and fireworks over the Brandenburg Gate. Now to New Orleans. It is a city once synonymous with good times, that is until the hurricane rolled in. Tonight, residents are hoping to see good times roll again, even before the clock strikes midnight. Here's NBC's Ron Mott.
India of New Orleans in the early 70s. New Orleans.
This has been a frustrating holiday weekend for the Amtrak passengers headed from Orlando to New York. The train made a sudden and unscheduled stop, and the people on board were stranded. NBC's Pat Dawson is live at New York's Penn Station tonight with that story. Good evening, Pat.
Good evening, John. They arrived here hungry, exhausted, in some cases wearing the same clothes they'd had on since Thursday. Some of the passengers were out of money, and just about all of them had long since run out of patience.
Worst ever.
11:24 Saturday morning, Amtrak said it deeply regretted the problem, which it described as unavoidable. The railroad also said that currently it has no plans to offer compensation to the passengers. John?
NBC's Pat Dawson in New York. Pat, thank you. It is already 2006 in Iraq. While 2005 ended with more violence, both Iraqi and American officials say there are reasons to look for change in the year that's just beginning. Here's NBC's Tom Aspel.
Baghdad's latest killing.
And this program note, tomorrow on Meet the Press, a roundtable on Iraq and other major events of 2005. Among Tim Russert's guests will be presidential historian Doris Kearns-Goodwin and veteran journalist William Safire. When NBC Nightly News continues tonight, in-depth travel troubles. Will it be a happy new year ahead for the nation's airlines? And beefing up the box office, the new attractions that may be coming to a movie theater near you. NBC News in-depth tonight. Unfriendly skies for the nation's airlines in 2005. They suffered their 5th straight year of losses. Since 9/11, the industry has lost more than $35 billion. But there is evidence the skies are clearing, as we hear from NBC's Tom Costello in depth.
It was as if a storm ripped the wings off almost every airline in 2005. 7 U.S. carriers now fly into the new year under bankruptcy protection.
It was the year in which all of the
low-cost carriers like Southwest and JetBlue undercut the big carriers as skyrocketing jet fuel prices made it impossible to climb out of a tailspin. Northwest declared bankruptcy as leaner, meaner airlines emerge.
This is not an industry that pays well. It's not.
Airlines now.
Another spike in fuel.
A tailwind going into the new year. Tom Costello, NBC News, Washington.
When we come back, stem cell scandal. A top South Korean scientist on the defensive following accusations he faked his own research. To South Korea now, and the rise and fall of a top scientist. His groundbreaking work was hailed as a breakthrough for stem cell research. Now it's being claimed much of that research was phony. Here's NBC's Charles Sabine.
Early this year,
this New Year's Eve, how movie theater operators are trying to bring the magic and the crowds back to the movies.
Monday, the big stories of 2005, the issues that will be big in 2006, a New Year's roundtable, Goodwin, Safire, Robinson, Meacham, only on Meet the Press.
Credit card minimums skyrocket. NBC Nightly News Monday.
Finally tonight, hopes for a happier new year in the movie business. With ticket sales slumping for the 3rd year in a row, some theater owners are coming up with new ways to bring the magic back to the experience as they attempt to create silver linings for their silver screens. Here's NBC's Mark Mullen.
Los Angeles.
That's NBC Nightly News for this Saturday. Thanks for watching. I'm John Siegenthaler reporting tonight from New York, and we leave you with a live look at London, where thousands of revelers are just about to ring in 2006. Have a happy new year. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.
America's news leader.
Next.